This video is how to do a TED Talk. Usually you'll get a handout like this and you're going to want to fill in all of the spaces. Sometimes the handout may look a little different, but it basically has the same things. We're going to walk through what to do for the handouts and an example of what it looks like. If you have this handout, the first thing you want to do is you want to write down the title of the TED Talk. You want to write down the name of the speaker, and you want to write down the date that it happened, at least the month and year. Then in space 4, you're going to look at what was the speaker's thesis, or in other words, their main point of the speech. Number 5, you want to circle and identify the following adjectives to describe the TED Talk. Was it humorous, inspiring, dull, intellectual? You're looking for tone words, basically. Here in 6, you want to look for ethos. That's building credibility. So how does the speaker build credibility or ethos? What do they do? Feel free to also refer to their profile information from the TED.com webpage as you build your answer, but as you go, you want to think of what do they do to make themselves believable, that you could trust what they're saying to build their credibility. Number 7 is pathos, which is appeal to emotion, while logos is use of data evidence to prove one's case. What do you think they relied on more, pathos or logos? So was it more logical, data-driven, or more emotional, appealing to emotion-driven? What argument point did the presentation did you find most compelling? So you're going to write that for 7. For 8, TED Talks are known as effective public speakers, but describe 2 things that they did well in terms of engaging the audience. And if you can, try to include the minute and second mark of when it happened. So 2 things that they did well to engage the audience. 9 is 2 things you learned from the presentation. 10 is if you could ask a question about the presentation, what would you ask? 11 is give one piece of constructive criticism to improve the presentation. On this one, you can't say there's nothing. You have to think of something. So this might be difficult, but you need to think of something that could be done to improve it. And 12, what group of people would benefit the most from hearing this lecture? Let's look at an example of what one done might look like. This is from a TED Talk called Do Schools Kill Creativity? It was by Sir Ken Robinson. This was the dated at 17.2 million views. The main point was creativity is as important as education and it should be treated equally. Notice they wrote it out in a complete sentence. They circled some of the words. Notice they picked more than one. It can be a couple. Here they talk about ethos. They say the speaker builds ethos by making a psychological correlation to his humor stories, then explaining how the humor in his story brings out the creativity in people. He used UNESCO as his credible source and statistics. Then for 7, the speaker uses pathos by trying to make all humans relatable towards each other and that we share the same skill sets but have started to show bias in one skill set over the other. So notice that when this student is writing out their answers, they're full sentences and they're giving full answers with explanations. Notice here, what does he do well? He's able to speak with his audience very well. He made the audience laugh and comprehend what he was claiming, all at the same time appealing much to them. He was also able to make his stories relate to human nature, school systems, and his claim of how we can be best off using creativity instead of traditional subjects like math, humanities, or sciences. So they're filling up the box, they're giving good answers, complete sentences. So this is what you want to be looking for or trying to do when you're filling out one of these TED Talk sheets. Here's an alternative TED Talk sheet. This one is similar. This one you're going to write down the name of the TED Talk, the date, the hour, the title of the presentation, the central idea. So here's where you would write the main claim. On this handout, you're going to look for evidence to support the main point. So as you're listening, you're writing down evidence that'll support the main point. Then you're looking at diction and syntax, looking for power and beautiful word choices and writing it down here. And then on this part, you're looking for the different parts of soapstone. You're looking for what is the subject of the presentation, what's the occasion, who's the audience who's listening to it, what is the purpose of it, who is the speaker, and tone words. And then in this last box, links, connections, and points of emphasis, you want to write down, can you connect these ideas or this presentation to other things? Are there any points of emphasis that you want to stick out or particularly look at? And then you're going to lastly write down your reaction to the article and fill this up at the bottom. So this is another one. In either way, you want to make sure that your answers are nice and full for full credit.